If you're a veteran or active duty service member buying your very first home with a VA loan, listen up. I've seen way too many first time VA buyers make critical mistakes that can cost them money, delay the closing, and even cause them to lose the home they wanted. So, in this video, we're going to break down 6 common rookie mistakes and how you can avoid them. Before you start house hunting, watch this. It could save you thousands and a ton of stress. So let's get right into it. What are some critical mistakes that you might be making in the home buying process? And the first one is not calling the loan officer soon enough. We see this all the time. People wait till the last minute. I get it. You don't want to send your pay stubs. You don't want to have that conversation. The problem with this is oftentimes there are tips and techniques and strategies we can do to help you. And sometimes you might need to get credit repair and those kind of things. And those things take time. And so, really, there's no too early time. It's really as soon as you think that you're probably going to buy a house the next year or so, just make that call and have that conversation. And that way we can guide you in the right way to go through that process. Critical mistake number 2 is not having a loan officer and realtor as a team that understand the VA home loan. The VA home loan is not a complex loan. But it is different than other types of loans, and oftentimes loan officers might only do 1 or 2 of these a year. And there are other loan officers like me that do 90% of their loans are VA loans. So you definitely want to have a loan officer, whether it's me or someone else you're working with, that understands the VA home loan, understands it well, because if not, you might have a delay, you might have all kinds of weird things happening. Same thing with your realtors. So there are different realtors, and some are good and some are bad. There are certifications realtors can get that can help you determine who is better with working with veterans than others. One is called the MRP, Military Relocation Program. Or just ask whatever loan officer you're using, what realtor they like that knows a lot about VA loans. It's always good as well. Or if you have friends that have bought houses with a VA loan, that's also another good avenue to potentially pursue to find a good realtor. Next critical mistake I see quite a bit is missing the home inspection. Now, the home inspection is different from an appraisal. Home inspection is an inspection you get independently from the appraisal, which will show things that are close to breaking down. For example, I did a video recently where someone had done a home inspection and they discovered there was radon in the house. And that's a pretty critical thing to know because it could cause major health problems for the family if they did not have that remediated. But luckily, they did do the home inspection. They did catch the radon, and so everybody's happy. So I definitely recommend paying a few $100 to get the home inspection. Next one is not factoring in closing costs properly. Now, the VA home loan is a zero down program, which is great. But what the problem is with the VA loan is that there are closing costs. It's not really a problem, but it's something with every loan that people don't factor in is closing costs. There are closing costs involved in getting a VA home loan. And you get your title, your appraisal, prepaid taxes, all those kind of things. And oftentimes people don't realize that those cannot be rolled in, which they cannot. So you need to figure out a way to pay that. Now, there are ways to have the seller pay that. You can do what's called a seller concession where the seller pays that. But it's something you need to discuss with your realtor in advance before you start the process to make sure that the seller can get concessions. And it depends a lot on the market. Right now that we've got a little more of a buyer's market in a lot of areas, we are seeing a little bit more seller concessions, but you don't want to rely just on seller concessions. The other idea you can do is you can get a gift from a relative. Those can count towards closing costs as well, but you need a game plan. And it's definitely, again, back to reason number 1, talk to your loan officer in advance, what those closing costs are, and more importantly, what the game plan is to pay those closing costs. Next mistake I see is people not having a budget for their house. People just guessing, I'm just going to wing it. Again, it goes back to step 1, talk to your loan officer, figuring out what you're going to buy, what each payment is for each price point, and then determining what house you can get. Oftentimes people just look at Zillow and say, yeah, I want this house as, X number of dollars, but they don't figure out what the payment is to buy that house. And if they can afford it, not only can they get qualified for that amount, but if they can actually afford that amount for their budget. So again, it comes back to step 1, finding a loan officer in advance to know what the realistic payment is for your situation for that house and understanding that. Next mistake is deciding too quickly in a house. We see this a lot in the strong buyers markets where it's super competitive. People won't take the time to consider their wants versus their needs. And you might be spending 10 or 15 or 20 years in this house, and you got to make sure that it's something that meets not only your needs today, but meets your needs in the future. You also got to look at commute times and school districts and all those kind of things. So take your time. It's a very big decision. And make sure it's a house you really want. Because nothing worse than going into a contract and then 2 weeks later you change your mind. You're having to give back the earnest money or give up the earnest money, which would be your deposit towards the house, because you change your mind because it's not refundable at that point. So those are some critical errors that first-time VA home buyers are making. If you have any questions about VA home loans or anything in particular, feel free to give me a call. My number is 937-572-3713 or scalpro.com. Talk to you soon. Bye.